profile, commenting under some AI-generated OnlyFans girls' nudes, going, like, just saying the most raunchy, disgusting, fucked-up-ass horny shit ever. Like, with the family pictures and all on their profile. Nobody gives a shit. This is exactly what has happened here to a certain extent. I'm like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, it's the same thing, yeah. It's the exact same thing. It's precisely what has happened here.
Fascinating how that has all happened. By the way,
it's an old dude. It's like, keep it in your pants, buddy.
Yeah, man.
No one needs to see this shit.
No, I do not. By the way, speaking of keeping things in, in your pants, for anyone who wants to like DM me weird proposals, like I get a lot of strange messages, various horny messages. I want none of that. I'm actually fundamentally disgusted by that because there's like literally zero sexual interest that I have in any of you. So stop messaging me with this weird ass fucking bullshit. There's not going to be any weird ass romance affair type bullshit. And seriously, it's not going to happen. I'm not that type of person. I know that everybody like goes the way of this at some point in their life. I do not. I'm an extremely autistic, super fucking principled individual, and there's like zero fucking chance in hell that any of that is going to burn through in any way. And if you fucking keep messaging me with weird ass fucking bullshit, I am just going to have to block you. So please stop.
Open
that
DMs.
Is the most autistic thing I've ever heard.
DM Adrian. I love you. 3 hearts. Smiley face.
That would be tame. That would be tame if people did that. But people send me some real fucking bullshit. Like, oh. Like, I have to check my DMs because I don't know what's in there. I stop checking the DMs. I'm like, okay, I'm fucking done here. I understand why Elon like has his DMs completely shut off. I would too. I was like, I should like sometimes have it still open for subscribers, and I have like requests active at least because I kind of have to because outreach is going to be a thing. But realistically, goddamn, I really understand. It's just too much nonsense.
Yeah. Did Connor ask to eat your pants?
But I love you. 3 eggplants.
Did not, but he wanted to make an insinuation on there where he's like, oh yeah, I used to like make alt accounts for myself. He said that in there. I was like, what the fuck is this? I know what you're trying to get there. I was like, no, it could not be me. He says, oh, I never said that it was you. I'm like, ugh. And the entire time I was like playing the game, and these like self-absorbed fucking idiots are just be like, oh my god, he's like trying to divert the topic by saying, oh, I'm distracted by the game. I wasn't distracted by the game, I was just like basically trying to play it. And then this one fucking clip of me jumping over a tire, I'm like, ooh, bouncy. I was like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. I'm like, it's a bouncy fucking tire in a video game I've never played before. Seriously,
Adrian, Adrian, check your DMs for me.
Okay.
Dude, Joe Exotic is here.
Hello.
Okay, what am I seeing in my DMs? Like we're at Discord X.
I'm adding Adele to the group.
Find out.
I don't really know her, but
no, she's a friend of mine. I mean, she's been on here before. Yeah.
How do I check you there?
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Adrian, check your DMs. Sorry, it took a second to send. I sent you some DMs that are a surprise, so we can start our, Twitter fantasy.
Oh no!
Oh my fucking god! What is even this?
Go ahead, share with chat. Go ahead.
Why is there an emoji timer? What does that mean?
Well, you spell it out.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is like probably the gayest thing I've ever seen in my DMs. I'm not kidding. This is literally peak gay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, by the way. I'm just literally stating what is the obvious fact. This is peak gay. Yes, it is very gay.
It's like the Mexican subway. The one in Mexico City, there's just nothing but homosexuals having butt sex all day. I'm not even joking about that, by the way. It's a thing. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It literally is a thing. So the subway, in Mexico subway, nobody takes it because it's a non-stop gay orgy. I'm not even joking. There are articles about this. Yep. All right. That's the thing. Yep. And so the government tried to ban it, right? They're like, this is a fucking train. What are you doing? And literally stop fucking in the train. And the United Nations said that was like a human rights violation. You can't stop gay people from having sex. So that's pretty cool.
Why don't they let you put the eggplant as an emoji?
Adrian, you should check You should check my DM that I sent you.
Already
You
did.
get an eggplant on your forehead every time, right?
Why is the United Nations still around?
I don't know. Don't ask me. It's a great organization.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah,
organization that could do a tremendous amount of good if it was managed a bit differently, but I don't have anything against it. All right, let's not do that.
Knowledge amazes me every time.
All right, let's kind of like bring it back to earth a little bit. Kind of do want to talk a little bit more about like tech related things. I mean, we kind of have a little bit of a gossip of what's happening on X recently. By the way, anyone who's new to the stage, post to the space with join the conversation. Yeah, which other things that we're going to be doing?
Anything interesting coming out of CES today? I haven't really caught up.
I haven't really seen anything groundbreaking, really. Not something that's like really caught up with me. The only thing that really came out of CES that was extremely groundbreaking was like the 50 series and the pricing on that and how powerful it was going to be. That was realistically the only thing that really stuck out to me. I think everything else is just kind of like a long burn. It's not going to be relevant.
A lot of it is just gimmicks, right? Stuff that people are just not going to buy. You know, like last year there was a phone, like an iPhone attachment that turns into like a BlackBerry. Nobody bought that shit. It's out in the market. You can literally find it. It's just I mean, who the fuck wants to do that anyway? It's dumb.
No, tell me what's going to come out next from CES. It's going to be like a AI-powered vibrating chair.
Yep. For gamers, Yeah.
For gamers, yes.
Yeah. Because you got to feel the explosions under your butt when you play Call of Duty.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Now the problem is once it gets into VR, a bunch of other things are going to happen, but we're not going to talk about that.
That will be but
it'll 100% happen. It's 100% going to happen.
What happens there?
Yep, especially when it comes to like haptic suits and everything, it is entirely possible. It's just that it's extremely fucking expensive to make because the production is complex as fuck. You can't really scale that up until people start buying it, which you're not gonna because it's too fucking expensive. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of defeat. So that's a problem. So we're not gonna get super haptic suits. But yeah, eventually we will.
Meta realized that what do you call it? They make it cheap, right? Yeah, no. What I mean is like the economics of scale, right, is in effect because they produce so much of the Meta Quest that they're actually affordable, right? It's literally like $300 for a pretty damn good headset. I'm hoping they take a step forward and they start investing in the AR stuff because I'm like, VR is like cool, but it's not it's not end game. It's not something you can wear all the time. It's fucking heavy, right? I wanna see them work closer with like Ray-Ban, for example, which they are, but actually implement like a heads-up display. That was something that I would buy.
Yeah. The smaller the better, and especially if it's like glasses related thing, because the problem with I think the Apple Vision Pro is the fact that it's way too heavy on your face. So
you're gonna carry a fucking battery pack as well. Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna and on top of that, just to like keep it on your head at all times, which is really difficult to do by default, you're gonna have to like get these neck muscles that you didn't think you needed before. So you're gonna have to be like those thick neck guys like Gunther, you know what I'm saying? Like some fucking real thick neck dudes. So fucking like you're gonna have to have this thing on. This VR headset so fucking heavy, it's gonna keep exercising your neck to the point that literally nothing on this planet's gonna be able to strangle you. Okay, like this is the guy who's gonna survive the robot wars. That's what's gonna happen right now because his neck's gonna be so fucking thick and rigid that nothing's gonna be able to strangle it. 100%.
They're gonna be like a car or an F1 driver. You ever seen the necks on those guys?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Training from Apple Vision Pro. Fucking resistant band training, pulling straight on the fucking head. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's happening.
Yeah, those guys. Feels like it was designed for Michael Schumacher.
Yeah. Dude, did you see that one guy who like was exercising in the gym and he was using it because he wanted to stretch his neck, so he just tied a rope. And bro's hanging there, fucking like doing lifts and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? What is he training for? What the hell is this?
He's gonna survive by hanging.
Exactly, like bro, that guy's unstoppable.
17th century France. Yeah.
Exactly, like that guy would be unstoppable. It's a very bad historical joke that comes out of this that I don't feel comfortable explaining, but yes. That is possible. That is very, very possible. Yeah. Ugh.
We're trying you for crimes and seditions against the state.
Oh.
All the stuff that a lot of I see English people and Germans are posting online right now on X. That is all arrestable offenses. Just so you know.
100%. Keep incriminating yourselves. You're proving a point that you don't even realize you're proving yet, and it's not in your favor. Just letting you know. Just in advance. I feel like
I I think the idea is that if everybody posts horrible memes, about what's going on in Europe, eventually it's going to get to a point where they just can't arrest everyone. So I think it's important.
Yeah, the basically was like, oh hey, critical mass, it's a meltdown, you can't stop it. There's no more control rods. The control rods are burning. It's like that's what they're thinking.
I think it's a good idea.
Or
Honestly,
they can release another virus. Be careful what you wish for.
No, the only
I
virus
don't
that I think
Gonna happen.
are the white
I
virus.
don't believe anyone's gonna buy it. At this point, nobody's gonna buy the scam. And personally, I don't believe in anyone trying to release a virus that's actually going to be harmful.
Yeah. Like the trust in the
nonsense,
medical
a lot of the
industry is at an
COVID
all-time low.
A lot of the COVID nonsense was simply just media fear-mongering and manipulated statistics way more than any impact from an alleged virus itself. And the symptoms were so loosely defined that you could basically call anything the COVID virus. So it's just people having the flu.
And here's what's fun: you can tell that the trust in the medical industry at large is fading to almost non-existential. So like to just out of existence, more or less, is because when I go up to a random person, I tell them, hey, the war on cholesterol is completely bullshit, and you should probably eat more cholesterol, and they'll tell you exactly why. I tell them a little bit of a story. It takes about 30 seconds or 40 seconds to explain, and they'll fucking take it. 5 years ago, this would have been impossible. This would have been impossible 5 years ago. Absolutely impossible 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
Now everybody accepts it. That tells me that there's a massive shift. It's the same thing when it comes to like various other things. I'd be explaining them, oh, hey, by the way, here's a super insane thing that you would have never been able to accept 10 years ago. Well, here you go. You're accepting it as if it was reality. This is where the info shift is coming into place. You can really see how things have changed over the last couple of years. Alone in 4 years, it's insane what has happened.
You are basically a flat earther if you believe that vaccines were harmful in any way. And now we have RFK Jr. collaborating with Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And people are actually aware of their health now. They're aware of the fact of what's happening. It's great. It's a great thing to see, because I don't like to fight with people about their perception as to what they think nutrition is based on someone else's uneducated fucking opinion. Like, it's great to not have fights about that. It's great when you hear somebody say, oh yeah, I do that too, and here's how I optimize my thing because I've come across these problems. It's like, god damn, now I'm learning something. Before that would have been absolutely fucking impossible. You come across this and some people are still stuck in their ways and they feel like, oh, you shouldn't eat all this red meat. I'm like, why? Yeah, why? Well, what's the problem?
Like, you should eat more seed oil.
Well, because you gotta get more cancer. You gotta get more cancer.
Like, how am I getting cancer? Like, the population that is eating all the stuff that they're supposed to eat are getting more cancer than the people who are eating the thing that they're not supposed to eat. So what the fuck is happening here? Can you explain that one to me? No, that's right, they can't.
That makes sense.
Anything
a
the
barrier
government
to
tells
its
you to
brain.
do, basically, do the opposite. Yeah.
Yes.
You see that fucking Joe Biden wants to ban cigarettes?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he's ordered a reduction of the nicotine quantity so that they put in cigarettes to the point where it's just basically fucking worthless to smoke. Like,
Yeah, bullshit. Leave the nicotine alone. Leave the nicotine alone. That shit's okay. Leave the fucking
Push
nicotine
everyone to
alone.
the black market. The black market and the cartel, seriously.
Cartels will get it. Correct, yes.
Exactly, no, 100% of power. Whenever
Yeah.
you make something illegal, there will always be a market that buys it somehow, and then you basically are giving more power to all the people that will set up a black market. That's how it always works. Remember what happened in Prohibition? A lot of the gangsters that came around, they were only as powerful, as influential, and as dangerous as they were because they made something as ubiquitous as fucking alcohol illegal.
Yeah.
Imagine there was an illegal market, like a black market for fucking alcohol.
Not for
So
beer.
they created their own threat.
Mhm.
Incredible.
Fucking stupid. Shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be banning, cigarettes. Cigarettes are good for you.
And the nicotine is kind of okay. Yeah.
Cigarettes are not good for you.
The cigarettes
they are.
themselves by the smoke, they're not good, but some of the nicotine sometimes can be quite good, actually. Can be quite beneficial. You just shouldn't abuse it. Like, don't fucking smoke an entire pack in a day. Like,
Yeah, don't
probably
do that.
don't do that.
Yeah.
So in
in
Europe, there's a
moderation.
huge trend. Well, everyone uses snus basically. Have you heard of it? It's basically nicotine packets that they put in their between their lip and their tooth.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
using
baby?
one right now.
Oh, you are?
There's a baby.
Yeah, that's my baby.
Yeah,
It's
yes, I am.
Artemis.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's called,
Male, female?
female. Her name is Artemis. She just turned 7 months on the
Cute.
22nd of December. Thank you.
Yeah, she's really adorable. She's really adorable. I met her.
Ian's met her, yeah. She has a bit of a cold right now, but she's a trooper. She's a warrior.
Nice. Good
So
stuff.
I'm using ones called Velos. I think they're from Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
don't
funny.
take any nicotine whatsoever, by the way, but like, yeah. I don't feel as though I need it. I've taken it like once or twice. Sometimes it depends. Like whenever somebody's like getting you to smoke, like if somebody has like a very good cigar or something. I mean, that's gonna be an easy sell for me. I'll be honest with you. I understand the value of cookie stuff. Like it's gonna be a thing. I'm gonna be into
They're
that.
so goddamn cheap in Europe too. What the hell?
Cigarettes, you mean?
No, snus.
Oh, those, yeah.
They're
The
like
cigarettes are actually quite interesting. So there's this thing where in Spain I think they tax the cigarettes, and in Great Britain they do not. And so the problem is there's a British overseas territory that's called Gibraltar, which is right next to Spain. Actually, the southernmost tip of Spain, there's like 2 tips effectively, and one of those tips, which is like pretty good, I think closest to Morocco most likely, that one is Gibraltar. The thing is that is British overseas territory, so it's technically Great Britain in a sense, right? They're technically still separate in some ways. And they have different laws when it comes to cigarettes than they do in Spain, so they keep smuggling it around. It's a well-known thing. It's fucking funny. I've seen this myself. I was there for quite a while, and I saw how all of that happened. It's like this one dude tried to smuggle it in his fucking tire, and his tire exploded, the cigarettes, whatever. Fucking fun times. Don't recommend it, by the way. Don't smuggle cigarettes. And this is just like, it's a thing. The police talk about it sometimes. They even try to like get Gibraltar to somehow do something about it. Be like, man, just put some sort of law, maybe a limitation as to how many cigarettes you can carry around. Because holy shit, man, they're getting overwhelmed over there. And I think they did at some point. And but yeah, it was hilarious.
Adrian and Nauta, I think this thing might be interesting for you. Like, there are some chips that the Xiaomi phones have been found to have like critical vulnerabilities, and it's been exposed. So the attackers have been exploiting these vulnerabilities to make like fake payment transactions, sort of. It's a MediaTek chipset. How? So I mean, these chips, they are operated on the TE. TE is the trusted execution environment, right? Like the attackers were exploiting. So there was this fake payment packages which use third-party unprivileged applications. So they used that to get RC into these packages, which was super interesting.
Wicked.
I have shared the news article in our chat.
Cool. Fuck, that was a little bit too much oregano. That's fine.
What do you mean? Pizza?
No, I'm cooking some steak. I always like to do the same thing. I have a little bit of Italian seasoning with some this fucking spice that's called savory. It's a plant that smells very, very nice. The Germans, they call it Bohnenkraut. There's no way anyone's gonna fucking pronounce that shit.
Wohlenkraut?
Bohnenkraut.
Bohnenkraut.
Wohlenkraut.
Bohnenkraut.
Yeah, it's Bohnenkraut.
It's a German thing.
Yeah, okay, so I mean, look, here's the fun thing about Germans, when you go to like a place, you want to order some food, and you try to like read some shit off the menu in German, it sounds like you're about to make the furniture float. I swear to God.
That's a very good way of explaining it.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, I'm about to summon Cthulhu real quick. Here, can you get me this thing? But in reality, it's like, hey, can I have this fried chicken, but keep the spice off of it? True story. I always found that funny because, like, whenever I went to like different countries, I tried to read the languages or like the menus and speak them. So it was like, yeah.
Adrian, how do you feel about kohlrabi?
It's nice. It's a fun vegetable if you want to like chow down on something that's semi-sweet and isn't really that nutritious, but you just kind of want to fill your stomach with something. It's kind of good. So yeah, it's a nice one. I don't know what it's called in English, but I like it. I've always liked it. It's kind of sweet. It tastes like a.
See, that's my issue. I have seriously been trying to look up the English term for it, and all I could find is that apparently international people call it kohlrabi too because it's so uncommon. But it's technically, I mean, it's just a root vegetable. It's kind of like a radish type of thing.
It's like a less sweet, radishy version of a pear. That's what it tastes like to me.
Like a turnip.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like the conference, it's the green things. Yeah, they call them conference pear because it was rated as the green pear, the specific one, was rated as the world's best pear, I think, in the London Pear Conference, and as such it was called the conference pear, I believe.
By the way, fun fact, while you are currently preparing your steak, I'm at the grocery store to buy a steak.
Nice.
Do they have like a...
Nice.
I'm standing right in front of a selection of steaks. I feel like I'm in a steak museum.
What are you going to get? Sirloin?
Ribeye, ideally, if I can find a good one. I think I just discovered a good one.
Oh, you're ribeye person. I'm a sirloin
yes,
person
that one
myself.
looks good. I'll send you a picture in your DMs, and you can tell me if it's good.
Sure, I guess. I don't really do ribeyes. I do sirloins most of the time. So I like just a very simple cut of steak. It has everything that you need in it. Easy to cook.
So you first sear it on the stovetop, right? High heat, and then you leave it in the oven?
No, I do it to reverse heat. I put it straight in the fucking pan, like with some butter, and put it on there, like medium-high heat. So I eat like 3 steaks in one sitting. That is... I think each is about 200 grams, 250 grams. So that times 3, you get the thing. It's like, you know, almost a kg, approaching a kg of steak. And that's like one meal. I don't eat more than that in a day.
What Jordan Peterson did also, I completely agree with. He went on a completely carnivorous diet, and I've done that before. I think there is so much merit to it. I agree with you.
I'm more of a paleo person, if anything. I do kind of like, you know, eat some other stuff that I like. I eat some carbohydrates still. I'm very flexible in my diet. But primarily the foundation is like it's a vertical diet. So like the foundation is fucking high protein and shit. Like 100% it's a steak that's carrying everything. And then everything else is just going on top effectively. So like a exact opposite of what the normal diet would suggest, which is like the normal diet, they say it's 80% carbohydrates and 20% proteins, when in reality it should be the exact opposite. It's 80% protein and 20% carbohydrates. And look, a lot of people judge me for this and be like, wow, it's a very abnormal way of eating. I'm like, no, it's actually the best way of eating, and also maximize cholesterol as well. And let me tell you something, I have the fucking highest energy out of most people, and everybody's like, how are you doing this? Well, I don't inundate my body with a bunch of shit that it is not built to digest, so yeah.
You know, there's a whole theory that this idea and this notion that you're supposed to have the typical American breakfast, it's poison. It's literally a lobby that was hired to market cereals and grains and all these sugars to the American people in the mornings. It's literally
so fucking stupid because it shuts down your immune system. Like, actually weakens your immune system by a fair amount. It's like the sugar itself. It's like a high impact thing on your immune system. Very bad. Very, very, very bad. So like basically imagine this. You're about to go to work. So what you've done is you've just inundated your body with a bunch of really sweet shit. You go to work, imagine somebody's sick. Fucking 100% you're getting that shit. And you're going to have a bad, bad day.
100%.
I can imagine. That looks delicious, by the way, Naomi.
Alright, let me flip my steaks and I'll get to looking at it.
Yeah, it's
I found the very last steak that has very nice marbling. That's what I appreciate about a good steak. It has to have good marbling. So basically, get a Wagyu on cheap.
Nice. Alright, let's take a look here.
Yep.
So there's something
let's see.
Max the
Oh yeah, that shit's good.
I highly suggest you follow it.
Organic, no antibiotics, added hormones, USA organic. Yeah, that shit's good. Just fucking slap it on the grill. This thing's great. Yep.
I know
100%.
my steak.
She does.
That's perfect.
I can attest to
I didn't
that.
even have
She
that
used
good
to make
steak.
a lot of steaks for me when I lived in Italy. Amazing. Amazing.
Meat is so good. I can't believe that people literally live a life without eating meat. No wonder everyone's so miserable.
But Ian, here's the thing: living in Dubai, right? You have access to meats from all over the world: Argentina, Brazil,
true.
the U.S., right?
Yep. Yeah, you can order it off. What's the name of that app? It's like you order fresh food off of it. What's the name?
Sorry, she was crying. There's a few.
Barakat. Yeah, Barakat.
Barakat. Yeah.
Yeah, Barakat. Yeah. Yeah. You can also buy meal kits if you're like really fucking lazy. Which
I saw that shit.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's a lot of options in Dubai, like crazy amounts of options. You know how in the U.S. you have like all the crappy Soylent shit. I'm pretty sure they have that here too, but obviously they're going to be very different ingredients and not Soylent.
Yeah.
I see these YouTubers. They always talk about this thing called Factor. Have you guys tried that? Seems interesting for lazy people.
Wait, I was just gonna say, isn't that one of these things where you get the ingredients and then you have to cook it?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna mention that hot take. This is the devil. I absolutely hate it because the most fun part about cooking for me is to be creative with random ingredients and then create something amazing with it. But if you already get all the ingredients, then you still have to cook. So you just get the boring part, but not the creativity that's involved with it. It's exactly like these images where you just paint in the numbers with colors and it already prescribes where you have to put certain colors. I think it's so mind-numbing.
It's lazy, yeah. And you don't really save that much time anyway, because if you have like a recipe in your head, you can already do that. Yeah.
If you're gonna cook, at least make it fun.
Yeah.
Now I'm buying eggs, by the way.
Nice. How much do they cost in America right now, these eggs?
Should be pretty good,
So the thing about America is just that you get everything in maximum size. So like right now, I'm staring at eggs and there's like, what is this? 15 packs? No, that's 18 eggs.
Dumb bitch can't even answer how much for a dozen.
Nothing. I do not see a single packet that contains like 6 eggs. Best we can get is 12 eggs, and they cost around $8.
That's pretty good.
That's decent. Yeah.
Pretty good. Shit's $1.99.
And they're organic, by the way.
Fuck.
The organic
They
ones,
definitely
they're
are.
$8.
Definitely are. And you guys, it's interesting. Free range versus organic versus, what is, in all your opinions, the healthiest egg to consume?
Free range. 100%.
Free range. Free range.
100% free range.
Absolutely.
Don't just organic. Like if you have free range, it's the eggs specifically are going to be so much better. The meat too is going to be a lot more gamey if you have it free range, but the eggs are going to be so much more
Isn't it
flavorful.
pasteurized though? I
Agreed.
don't know exactly how the American definitions are. In Germany, it's a different system. In Germany, it's actually interesting fact. We have numbers on the eggs. Like they are kind of like a little stamp on the eggs. And the number 2 is basically the worst. And then the higher it gets, 0 is the best. That's kind of like organic, best eggs you can get. Isn't pasteurized better than the free range? I have both
Yes,
of them right
definitely.
next to each other. And the pasture is the more expensive one.
Hey, pasteurized
I
egg.
think that's the better one. I looked it up a couple of days ago.
They don't pasteurize the eggs. It means it comes from a pasture. And so, yes.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay,
Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Guys, that's so interesting. So the worst egg is number 2. That is so accurate. Finishing first versus finishing second place, it's like you might as well be last. So I like that.
Wicked. This is good.
Not to be harsh, but
What do you feed your baby?
so she has a bit of a cold right now, but so she's very, very uncomfortable. But I make her fresh, believe it or not, steak puree. I give her Japanese purple potatoes. Give her organic quail eggs. Actually, I give her organic carrot puree with sweet potato, organic pears, peaches, apples, squash. I give her bone marrow.
Ooh, very good.
Nice.
Yeah, bone marrow. And what
That
else?
kid's going to turn into a giga chat. Holy shit.
She's very big. You know, it's funny, when I gave birth to her in May, they actually kept me in the hospital for like 6 extra days because they were like, I gave birth to her in Sweden, and they were like, she's very small. I'm like, yeah, you're all Vikings in this country. I have petite genes. but it's funny because she actually now for 7 months she's wearing 12-month-old clothing, so I take very good care of her. And the formula, in case anyone did, I breastfed her and did formula simultaneously, but the formula that I've been using for her is Kendamil.
Right.
Organic.
It's not the weird shit that they get from Nestle, which has like hydrogenated seed oil in there.
No, it actually is free of the palm oil. It's based in the UK off of a farm.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Good stuff.
Pretty good. Good stuff.
Yeah, so it's more work, but it's worth it. You know, it's totally. It's going to end up, you know, resulting in her having a very, very healthy immune system. I'm already reading her Newtonian physics and quantum physics for babies. I'm getting her ready. One of my, actually, a friend of mine, when he found out the name, I said, Artemis. He goes, what are you, competing with Elon Musk? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, he named his space voyage Artemis. I have no idea. I just love the name. And in fact, it's the Greek goddess of the hunt, but also Artemisia was the name of the female warrior commander of King Xerxes' naval fleet, apparently, in ancient Persia.
Yeah, that kid's 100% turning out to be a Giga Chad. That's happening.
To be what?
That kid's 100% turning out to be Giga Chad. Like, the female version of Giga Chad. Do you know what Giga Chad is?
No, actually.
You don't know what Giga Chad is?
Giga Amazon.
Okay, so there's like, so there's this meme of a dude that is extremely jacked, like extremely lean jacked, has extremely chiseled features. So I think a Russian supermodel or something, and he made the rounds of the internet because of his physique, and they call him the Giga Chad, right? There's also a female equivalent of that, because as the meme became super ubiquitous, they said, hey, there has to be a female version of the Giga Chad, and there's a female version of the Giga Chad, which is ironically enough just the Photoshop version of the actual Giga Chad. So yes, that's what a Giga Chad is. Super ripped, muscular individual.
Interesting. I have a feeling she's gonna be more feminine. Well, it depends on her what she wants, but more feminine in her physical features, with strength, obviously, you know, toned and stuff like that. But the main focus is going to be her brilliant mind. She's going to be a firecracker.
Good. Start them early. Make sure to teach them good mathematics in the beginning, not like this weak shit that they teach them nowadays.
No, I'm definitely not raising her there. I'm between, you know, Dubai, Sweden, London, the U.S., so kind of all over the place. But I'm a big advocate for homeschooling.
Great.
Do you post about that kind of content about how you raise your kid? Because I think that's pretty amazing. I think you can inspire a lot of people.
You know, I think you're right, Naomi. Thank you for that. I think a lot of people simply just don't know that there's an alternative. They hear what they hear and they go with it. So
and
thank
I think
you.
A big problem is that a lot of people think it takes so much extra effort and it's something that's so niche. But I think we just need to make it mainstream. Like, if you care about your baby, then that should be the status quo. Because don't you want your baby to become smart, intelligent, and a caring individual that is curious about the world? And in the long run, you're going to have a lot less problems with your child if you raise it this way.
You know, I think people are lazy and selfish. Adrian, sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. I'm just like zooming around in the kitchen making my food.
Yeah, Naomi, you're absolutely right. It should be that way. People should want the best for their kids. You know, in some ways, people unfortunately are in positions where they can't necessarily do, you know, the same things that others are, you know, lucky enough to do. But I've seen a lot of parents who are just negligent. And they're just selfish. And I think I think the future generations are kind of veering away from that and becoming a little bit more, you know, turning back to more conservative or quality values. But I've seen a digression from that for sure over the last few generations.
Great. That's good.
But
I hope more people do because that's good for our civilization.
What?
I hope more people are like that. It's good for our civilization because it has to be base people in the world to be with. Otherwise, the world's gonna be quite empty and very annoying.
That's right. Do you have any kids, Adrian?
Not yet. We'll soon though. Eventually.
Amazing.
Having kind of a goal set in mind. There's a bunch of stuff that I need to achieve first. I think it's probably going to come along a lot faster than I imagined, but there's a bunch of stuff I need to do first.
You'll get it done.
Oh yeah.
Manifest.
Adela, I truly think that there is a niche for this that hasn't been fulfilled yet on X. If you just posted some videos just describing your experience as a mom and how you treat your kid and how you raise your child, that could do very well. I would support it.
Don't post any pictures of your kid on the internet, though. That's the thing that I would very, very strongly recommend against. There's a lot of weird shit on the internet, and it's 100% not a good idea to do it. Especially one day that kid grows up. It's an off-spec problem.
It's a goddamn joint person. They did this thing with PDB, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar. I'm sure Naomi is. Where he posted, I think he had a picture of him and his kid, his daughter, and they photoshopped themselves raping her. Fucked up. Yep.
Yeah, that was messed up. But wait, what about Adrian? What about covering her eyes or covering her face?
Just in general, I wouldn't do it. I think children and pictures of children do not belong on the internet. Never have. It's just a strange side effect of the world, and everybody does this. And it's so easy to find people as soon as there's one picture of them on the internet. So for the future security of the child, it's important to not have images of that child in any shape or form on that internet, especially as a baby. There's no baby pictures of me, for instance, on the internet. I can 100% assure that.
Yeah, I completely resonate with that. I actually have a post about this on sharenting, about what are the bad side effects of parents sharing their child's pictures online. You can have a look, but TLDR, please try not to share any private photos or videos.
It's just a risk you can't afford, and people think, oh, it's not so bad, it's just a little picture, you're relative to something, they pressure you into it. I'm like, I'm a very stubborn person, so you're not going to pressure me into doing jack shit.
Thank God. God bless you. We need more of you.
Well, it's the autism, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be around there. It seems to be a very common thing now these days. So there's a lot more of those around. Oh, very nice.
Thank you, Naomi. I'm gonna consider that heavily.
Yeah. That's one of those things that I'm very thankful for, is that there were no images of me on the internet. So a lot of people make this mistake, especially people my age, ironically enough, people that have had the ability to access the internet, create profiles of themselves as teenagers, and they do a bunch of absolutely fucking stupid shit. And it's there forever, It's you can't get rid of that. And what's going to happen if one day your employer looks at this and you've done some really dumb shit, in your teens or something like that, and then your fucking employer says, hey, this is the person who's working for you. You okay with this? Bruh.
So this reminds me of? It reminds me of actually Black Mirror and a phenomenon in China where they have this social credit score system, and depending on, for example, have you guys seen Black Mirror? There's an episode where this woman walks into a coffee shop, for example, and wherever she goes, Uber, coffee shop, a restaurant, the gym, if she doesn't have this pleasant, smiley, happy demeanor, people will rate her with a 1 out of a 5 rating, for example. And depending on your social score, you will be allowed into certain parts of the, living situation, and you'll be blocked from others. And China apparently has something, I think, that's kind of similar. Ian, you probably know about this.
It doesn't do that though, not to that extent. It's more like what you buy. So if you buy pornography, for example, that will be bad for your social credit score. If you don't have a job, that's just super bad for your social credit score. If you you get into arguments with people, you get arrested, that is super bad for your social credit score. It's all about controlling behavior, right? So They want you to be healthy. They want you to have children because China has a really bad problem with people not having enough kids, right? So an easy way to raise your social credit score is to just have a kid, and then every time you buy, say, baby formula, for example, your social credit score goes up. And now what your social credit score allows you to have is loans, better recommendations for like housing, better jobs, because if your like social credit score is like too low, then you won't get a nice job. Okay, so it's in your interest to behave in a like socially positive manner. It's not about smiling or not getting into arguments or stuff like that. That's so minuscule. They can't really control that, right? It's more about your larger, like the larger scope of your behavior. Now, this is not implemented anywhere, by the way. Like it's not like fully implemented, like fully. It's like they're beta testing some stuff. But they haven't really been able to, pin down what is a really good system without, breaking everything, right? And there's a bunch of companies trying to run for it. And I think one of the companies that was developing the software has come into a lot of problems with the Chinese government. China used to promote a lot of internet-based things, right? Like Alibaba, for example. And they realized that giving these people too much power was actually pretty bad. Like Jack Ma, for instance, he is kind of an idiot. If you've ever seen his interview with Elon Musk, you kind of realize he's kind of a dumb guy. Okay.
Well, Elon schooled him.
Yeah. Right. And so it China doesn't want giving that much power to these people anyway. And that's the reason why I don't think they're really going forward with a social credit system. It doesn't seem like it's going to properly work. So I wouldn't see that happening in any near future. I think maybe in the distant future, like say 20 years or something, they might do something with AI that's related to it. But right now the system just is pretty easy to cheat and it's too easy to like fuck people over. So I don't think they want to do that.
Ian, there is a super interesting episode from Black Mirror called Nosedive. It's exactly like social credit system where so there is a woman who desperately tries to boost her points to get certain benefits in society.
Yeah, she's referencing it. Yeah, Adele's just mentioning it. Yeah, I don't really see a system like that working in the near future. You really do need AI algorithm and algorithms and stuff to calculate your actual behaviors, and it's too easy to cheat, honestly, right? If you can just boost your points by doing a certain thing, I mean, why wouldn't you just do it nonstop, right? If you could raise your points from say 700 and say let's say 1,000 is like the maximum you can get, why wouldn't you just buy 700 bags of baby formula? Just spend the money on it, and boom, your social credit's way up. That wouldn't make any sense. You get arguments with people, you get arrested. It has to be incremental, and on top of that, China is pivoting away from internet businesses over to the semiconductor industry. It's far more important, which is why they removed a lot of the executives who were previously in charge of, who were getting like all this government subsidies and stuff. They stopped giving them that and took that money and given it to the semiconductor industry because they realized that is way more important and that there's like a bigger fight to be had with like America when it comes to this stuff. Like overall technology is more important than, social control.
Do you think we could ever have a social currency system of our own here? What do you think?
I wouldn't want to. It'd be terrible. But it could happen.
Yeah, it would be death of society, honestly.
Yeah. You want people to behave freely, not terrified of everything. And on top of that, you can't shut down everyone. You're going to have a system where, like in the UK, it's illegal to make memes. It's illegal to post memes of, British politicians. They could literally sue you for defamation. But are people doing it anyway? Yeah, they are. And they're getting pissed off about it.
So, I think there are certain people who are trying to implement such a system using CBDC. It's like a programmable currency where they kind of dictate what you can do. Exactly.
Yeah, the banks control everything. Like Australia is more likely to implement that than anybody else at this point. The population is relatively small, and the banks there already ask you for what you're using your money for, right? Like if you go to a bank in Australia and you try to withdraw, say, $200, they'll ask you what are you using this money for? No other country does this, right? China doesn't ask you what you're using
Sweden
$200 for.
Sweden does that.
Sweden does that?
That is interesting. That is so
That is so
interesting.
stupid and so terrible. Yeah.
It's so stupid.
They don't do this in the U.S. They don't do it in Russia. They don't do it in Dubai. Obviously, they don't fucking do it here. You can do whatever you want.
But it's terrible.
Dubai's
And
fantastic.
if you have a lot of money, why the fuck would you want to live in a place like Australia anyway? You'd leave. For a variety of reasons, not just the fact that everything wants to kill you, right? All the wildlife wants you dead, unless it's really really cute, in which case fine. But having to put up with 9/10 of the wildlife trying to kill you is pretty bad. But beyond that, the social situation in Australia, from what I know, and Australians can feel free to correct me, is that they do suffer from a thing called tall poppy syndrome. In which case, if a person is successful, they kind of shit on that person and they try to keep you down. And that's why. It's so bad.
I think that's in almost every society, but I actually say I would think that it might be a good idea as an investment to actually develop Australia in some parts that aren't developed yet.
Oh, 100%.
Or Canada for that, right?
Yeah.
And to start getting people to live there. I mean, what an incredible way of being part of the next real estate.
Well, the issue is the people living in these, I don't know about Canada, in regards to this, but in Australia, there's a lot of pushback against migrants, right? Even wealthy migrants, because the issue right now is Chinese migrants or investors are coming in and buying up all the property in places like Sydney, right? It's all owned by the Chinese, and it's pricing out a lot of the local homeowners. So they're super upset about that. And that is not a thing that the Australian government really wants to talk about, because it makes them look really bad, given that they've, allowed this to happen. So they're not controlling it properly. But on top of that, there's also like a shit ton of regulations. So I don't think it's easily like the best place to go if you want to invest in something. It'd be better if you, invest in the UAE or Saudi Arabia, because there's so few regulations in places like this.
But the Chinese have been doing the same thing in the U.S.
Yeah.
In California,
South Dakota. There's a big problem there, and there needs to be restrictions on what Chinese companies, because it's not individuals that are buying this stuff, it's companies that are buying up farmland right next to U.S. military bases. And they did this in Panama, by the way. Trump talks about this, about how the Panama Canal is literally surrounded by Chinese bases. What the fuck, right? It's essentially the Chinese canal. And that is, in America's interest. That is not in America's interest at all. America needs to do something about Panama. That is a guarantee. They cannot let the Chinese, control the Panama Canal, because they are charging the American ships that cross it a lot more money than they're charging the Chinese ships. Why is that? Because they can get away with it, and Biden lets them get away with it. Obama let them get away with it, right? But Trump will not let them get away with it.
Speaking of,
we're going to take back the Panama Canal. It's going to happen. We're going to make it great again. We're going to make it ours again.
I was just going to reference Trump. That's telepathy. It's hilarious. I was going to say that Trump has mentioned, again, 2019 was the last time I think he mentioned wanting to actually have the U.S. acquire Greenland.
Yeah.
I think he offered like $100 million to Denmark. The question is, do we really want to have the far left ideology encroaching even more greatly
I'm not
on
concerned
America?
about that. So, okay. The reason I'm not concerned about the far left people living in Greenland is because there's only 40,000 of them. They can't affect anything, right? And on top of that, I wouldn't even necessarily call them far left so much as they are. They want to be autonomous. They want to be independent from Denmark, because they're not really getting much out of Denmark, right? Denmark is only now trying to invest in them because of what Trump said. If Trump didn't say anything, they wouldn't be getting anything. So Denmark is terrified of the prospect of losing Greenland to.
Hold on, wait. Denmark funds half their government, though. Half the money that the government.
It's not that much money, though. Like Denmark is a rich, wealthy, oil-rich country. Yeah. They don't care.
Still,
they're just not doing much.
Half their government money.
Yeah, they're just not doing much with the place. There's a lot of resources there. It's very unfortunate that the place has just been allowed to sort of be just nothing. I wouldn't even call it a tourist attraction, because nobody's traveling there. There's literally nothing there, right? It's barren as fuck, right? There's a lot of resources, but there's nothing there to visit. So I would see that, it wouldn't become a state. So a lot of people are concerned, what if it becomes a state? Then, you're going to have more Democrats. I don't think that's even going to matter, because they're not going to become a state. They're going to be a protectorate. They're going to be like Guam, for example, right? But they have as few rights as the people in Guam do. They'd be U.S. nationals rather than U.S. citizens, so they wouldn't even be able to vote. So not super concerned about that. And on top of that,
if they decide on their own terms that they want to join the United States, they would be 100% loyal to Trump. That's the thing. I mean, Trump Jr. is going down there. I'm not sure when, but he's going down there. He's going to be talking to the guys there, and they're going to make this happen. This deal is going to happen. Whether Denmark likes it or whether England likes it, it's going to happen.
Do you really think so? They're going to be loyal to Trump? Honestly,
I guess so.
So Adele, when Alaska joined the United States, it was thought that they were going to be Democrats because of the nature of them being so disconnected from the continent at the time, which was more Republican friendly. But what ended up happening was there was an indigenous political culture that took root, and there was a lot of settlers from the mainland that went into Alaska that ended up terraforming the politics of Alaska, that made it more and more conservative and Republican friendly. I could see a lot of working class legacy Americans moving from the continent to Greenland to terraform their society and perhaps make it much more Republican friendly. I could definitely see the government, U.S. government, invest tremendously in Greenland, making the locals, grateful for Trump. They could easily become Trump voters. I don't see why not. Also, with American media, entertainment, the internet, people can easily be amendable. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of them are of European stock. And Caucasian Americans or European Americans, they tend to swing more right-leaning. I could see them definitely being Republican voters.
Not just Europeans, a lot of them are indigenous. And if you look at who voted for Trump recently, a lot of indigenous people voted for Donald Trump. Because
Yeah,
the
that's
Democrats
true
don't
as
give
well.
them shit. Yeah.
I mean, it's also like, what are the wedge issues that'll be, right? And then again, like if they're a territory, like these guys can't vote. They're nationals, so it doesn't really matter.
Yes, that's true. Yes and no, but it's still something to think about. I mean, if Donald Trump can convince Denmark, Greenland, and the international governing bodies that will be part of this decision making to sell, I mean, wow. That'll be something that when was the last time in history that America acquired another country, basically? In recent history.
America needs to acquire Canada and Mexico.
Amen.
So it becomes like an entire nation. So it's like the United States, but instead of the United States, it's Canada, United States, and Mexico. So it's come. I mean, make this joke so mainstream, everyone's gonna fucking talk about it.
It's definitely the third time I've heard you make it, and it gets funnier every time.
Mm-hmm.
So we get rid of the illegal alien problem by making Mexico a part of America. Perfect.
And you get all the manufacturing, so it's American made.
So I just got done grocery shopping, and it was way too expensive, as expected. Thank you, Bidenomics.
Lol. How much was it?
So you gotta subscribe so I can afford my groceries. Crying face. Just kidding.
Now, how much was it? How much was it?
$71 and something, which is bad because this is gonna last for like 2 days.
That's fucking insane.
Yep. Steak, drinks, which is basically just water.
How much does that all come to? I missed it. So I was like...
$71 and something. Terrible.
$71 for steaks and drinks and
oh yeah, and some salmon.
And some salmon.
Yep.
That's a lot of money for a small
That is a lot of money. Yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. Yeah. American prices are not okay.
They're a lot cheaper in Italy, What the fuck? And Italy's like expensive.
True. And then people told me that Italy was actually kind of expensive, and I'm over here. This is not good.
No,
America is
definitely not.
In bad condition, so you're lucky that you voted for Trump.
Yeah. Man, the thing about Italian food is that, it can be expensive. Like, we bought some really expensive steaks when we were there, right? But It was really fucking good steak, and the quality is like unbeatable. So you're paying for what you get, right? With America, it's like, well, the qualities are going to be kind of middling. So it's like you're paying Italian prices for what is essentially not really great stuff.
So I happen to think that food in Italy isn't that great between us. I think that Italian food elsewhere is much better. Although I will say the quality of the steaks, yes, that's great. In America, you get more flavor, but it's not as healthy, unfortunately.
Yeah, they put fucking sugar in it and everything, like HFCS. Not even sugar, not even real sugar, but HFCS, yeah.
Fake sugar. Holy shit.
Yep. From corn, yeah, because the corn lobby, if you want to hear a funny story about how that happened, why HFCS is in everything, is during World War II, the United States subsidized the corn lobby, like not the corn lobby, but the corn industry, right, to essentially create cheap, tasty sort of foods for soldiers, right? And then when the war ended, they were like, okay, we got all this stuff, what the fuck do we do with it? And so the corn industry was like, well, why don't we just put it in everything? And they lobbied the U.S. government to allow that to happen. So that's the reason why you have HFCS in literally every kind of food. Even bread has fucking corn syrup in it.
Dude, it's the same shit with cheese. Or the reason why there's so much cheese on the pizza is because the government had too much cheese at the time.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
It's a true story.
It is, yeah. It's
No
true story.
way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody keeps asking, why is there so much cheese on American food? And it's like, well, it's because your government did that shit.
Yeah. They basically overproduced milk, right? Because they had a lot of dairy farms, and they still do. And you don't want to throw the milk away, because what happens to leftover milk is that you just throw it away. It's a waste. So they're like, well, why don't we turn it into cheese, and why don't we fucking sell it everywhere? Why don't we put it in everything? So they marketed that way, and the government, was on board with it. Because that way they don't waste food, they sell more food, and nothing goes to waste. Yeah.
So it hasn't changed since then. Yep.
Yep. And so you have disgusting American food that has way too much cheese on it.
And you can thank your government for that, because there was too much of it at the time.
Mm-hmm. Chicago's deep dish pizza. Have you ever had that? It is ridiculous. It's nothing but cheese. It might as well be a casserole.
The best pizza in America is in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Back.
I wonder if there's any New Jersey pizzas in Dubai. I'm sure I can find one. I've been trying different places.
I can find it. We'll find it.
Yeah, there's like some really good places, like that I've found, and they're Italian pizzas, and super fucking good, man. Like it's all like wood oven, like wood fried ovens and stuff, whatever you call it. Amazing stuff. So good.
Is pizza healthy for us?
No.
It's
Absolutely
better
not.
than sugar.
Dude, I'm sitting here eating like a fucking animal now. It's crazy.
About to make my steak too, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm having like what is effectively, 750 grams approximately, almost 800 grams of fucking steak. With butter, a lot of butter, and just a little bit of bread. So everything's fucking covered here. After I'm finished with this, I'm gonna feel so happy.
In Farsi, we say Nushajun, which means bon appetit.
Oh, right.
Nusajun!
A little
Nusajun!
coffee on the side here, diluted with a shit ton of milk, so it's basically a latte. And the fucking some water here. So I'm gonna drink 1 liter of water plus this coffee with the milk. So I'm getting everything.
Oh, except you don't ever get a salad, you fat fuck!
I'm getting my fucking milk. I'm getting my caffeine, so I can accelerate my thinking. I get my butter. I get my salt. I get my proteins. Then I get my carbohydrates, all in fucking one.
Adrian, you're so German, honestly. It's really funny.
This is what Germans should be like, but I don't know any of them that are. Actually, as a matter of fact, if I post this kind of fucking diet to a German, they could be like, they're gonna think that I'm somehow fucking mentally insane or some shit. I'm like, I'm not the one who's mentally insane here. This is what normal should be like, actually. And best thing is, I eat this only once a day. No breakfast, no dinner, no nothing. Just this.
No snacks.
No fucking snacks. Fuck snacks.
Intermittent fasting. Yeah. What time is it for you right now?
Who, me?
Yeah, Adrian.
Mealtime.
Adrian. Mealtime for him.
Mr. Disman.
I don't think he wants to go away his location. by
Yeah, no, actually, then don't. So basically, I have done what you're doing, and I have to tell you, I'm on East Coast time right now, but I feel so much better that way. The energy levels are up. I'm a high energy person to begin with, but having that intermittent fasting, it just does something else to you. It actually, your body metabolizes better, everything. Your brain, it has not brain fog. Your brain can think more clearly. It's faster. All of the above. I agree with you. I recommend it for everyone to try it.
Eat once a day. That's all you need to do, really.
And you'll live longer.
Yep.
Yeah. I say this as I open a new snooze pouch from Juicehead.
Yeah, DoorDash, McDonald's, Big Mac.
Oh, get all this stuff that's gonna oxidize all your cholesterols.
Like the pouches I got are like 6 mg, which is like fucking nothing. So I bought a bunch that are like 30 mg. We'll see how that goes.
I'm gonna turn it to Ali
Ian, were you telling me that? Ian, were you telling me that in America the Burger King burger has like 2 teaspoons of plastic in it or something, microplastics?
Yes. Yes. 2 teaspoons of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's got 2 teaspoons of microplastics in it. It's fucking insane and disgusting.
Don't forget the water that you're drinking as well. Might have those chemicals in it that turn the frogs gay.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yes. You're drinking your neighbor's birth control or like.
There are chemicals in the water, turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yep. That's a thing. That's real.
People thought that was a joke.
Depends on where you get your water, but yeah.
100%.
There's a lot of problems with the American drinking water supply.
Yep. That is true.
On top of that, there's the whole issue with a lot of pipes still being lead lined because they never replaced them in like older towns.
Oh, you're right.
So you're drinking lead and you're making yourself sterile, and people are wondering why aren't Americans having enough kids? Well, that's one of the reasons.
Yep. Not just finance, but you literally kind of have it. Even sperm counts are going to shit.
Yep.
It's a huge problem.
Look at the the Try guys, right? Those idiots in BuzzFeed, those YouTubers. Dude, they did a testosterone test to see what their T levels were, right? And the average male.
That was insane.
Age, it's supposed to be like if you're like 30 to 50, I guess it's going to be above 500, right? That should be like the adequate amount, right? Above 500, and you're sort of fine. 1,000 would be like if you're like super early 20s or like 18 or something, right? Or even higher than that. If you're on, if you're getting injections, then obviously going to be like 1,000 too. Those guys, their T levels were below 200. Like the highest was like the Asian dude, and he was like 264 or something, which is really low. And the rest of them, all those the 3 soy boys, right? Their T levels were between 110 to about 150. That is like old man testosterone levels, okay? This is like when you're fucking 80 and you're not, you can't get it up anymore. That was how low their T levels were.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. Speaking of people with low T levels, you see that fucking male feminist who's Lively is doing it?
That's a great way to lead into the discussion.
Yeah.
It's like the Family Guy meme where like guy sits down like, who starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
So I haven't really been following that case, right? But I looked into it, and it seems like that the guy that Blake Lively is going after legally, right, is a male feminist ally. He runs a podcast for male feminists that talks about women's spaces and all this crap. And I think there was an instance where when she had a baby and she lost her baby weight, he was like kind of fucking weird about it. He's like, oh, that all went away, it melted away, he was just kind of fucking weird about it, and like constantly commenting on women's figures. Like the guy's like actually a misogynist, but he's masquerading as a male feminist, right? I mean, all male feminists are secretly misogynist. So he's I guess he's very sexually inappropriate, and that's what he's being getting in trouble for. So if anybody feels like they need to defend this guy against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, I'm like, just stop, okay? Like this guy's a scumbag. This is like one of the bad guys. He's a male feminist ally, super far lefty, progressive type, virtue signals all the time, and that's what these fucking people are. Fuck him. And by the way, they made fun of him in the Deadpool movie. Like, Nice Pool is based on him.
Oh, what?
Oh wow.
That's wicked.
Yeah. So you know where the nice pool character came from,
Wow.
right? Yeah. And they were basically mocking this guy. Yeah. They're making fun of him because like he's got a man bun, and the actual guy in real life is a man bun, right? And all his political views are completely the same as nice pools. The guy's a hypocrite.
Wow.
Yep. So, Godspeed to Blake Lively. I hope she takes him down. Fuck that guy, and fuck anybody who's like that.
Yeah, feminists are just basically the worst. It's like fucking annoying.
Yeah. I mean, look at the guy who wrote the Avengers movie, right? With Joss Whedon, right? Huge male feminist ally. I actually know some of the other actors on his shows, like Firefly and stuff. I talked to them, and they're like, yeah, the guy was actually, like, abusing his wife, like, psychologically.
Wow.
And meanwhile, he also fired Calista, I forget her name, she's one of the actresses. She got pregnant while she was on the show with her husband. And he fired her from the show because she got pregnant, because she didn't have that figure anymore, right? She's supposed to be skinny.
That's, like, super illegal.
Yeah, it ought to be. But he got away with it.
It's completely illegal. Yeah, you get in trouble.
He got away with it though, because it's Hollywood, and he's like this huge male feminist ally, and everybody is like terrified of him, and there's like he would hang out with people like Anita Sarkeesian, the feminists who basically destroyed video games, right? And they're all like part of the same group, right? The same clique. So they cover for each other. They know what a scumbag this guy is, and it wasn't until the whole Me Too thing happened. It's like one of the few good things that happened there was where a lot of people used to work for him or work with him or had experiences with him came out and said, yeah, this guy was actually really fucking abusive. He was really abusive to the women on his shows. He would, tell them to basically starve themselves if they got too fat or something, like it's just fucked up. Fuck this guy. But they're all like that. I used to get into it with him on X back when it was Twitter, but he got scared off the platform. I think he deleted his whole fucking existence. You can't find him anymore. I don't know if he's done any jobs since he got canceled. Like, fuck him. Oh yeah, they're all like that. Can't trust these fucking people.
By the way, thanks, Jordan. Everybody's sending me fucking, like, eggplant emojis now.
Oh, great. Nice.
Fuck you.
Dying right now. Oh my god.
Keep sending him eggplants and keep sending him hearts.
No more. Stop it.
I sent him a very nice message, which he liked.
Yes, he said, fuck
When
you.
I take the love into dicks, he can't take life.
When life gives you eggplants, make Baba Ganoush.
Make what?
Okay, by the way, Adele, you're gonna fucking love this shit. Auda is extremely against eggplants. He says he's never had an eggplant in his entire life.
Really?
Who is it?
Auda, this guy here, the guy with the Greek god-looking
really?
profile picture thing.
You're missing out, Ada.
I am not missing out.
Aubergines are very
You're gonna
delicious.
love this conversation.
Yeah, no, trust me, you're definitely not missing out. Stay
You
away.
told me.
Listen, eggplants are the most useless shit on earth. They look disgusting.
Delicious.
And they smell disgusting. And I bet
Maybe
they
that's a
taste...
pat roasted eggplant. It's so
No, and I never will.
No, you should.
Dude, you're old
I
enough to
will
be
not.
introduced to some very deep lore. This shit's the funniest shit ever. Try to get Auda to eat an eggplant. Hopeless.
Listen, I have never, ever in my life, ever had someone tell me, just try it, you might like it. And I try it, and it turns out not to be complete ass. It's always complete ass, right? I look at that shit, I smell that shit, I already know it tastes like broken shards of glass.
No, it doesn't. It
Yes.
What are you talking about? No.
It's not like that at all, actually. It's very nice and soft. There's great aroma.
I know, as soon as I eat an eggplant, I'm going to be shitting blood next day.
What? No! No.
Dude,
No,
like,
okay, so here.
I had your opinion. I used to have your opinion. I used to think eggplants were bad. I never tasted one before in my life. And then one day, I went to some Indian restaurant and they had like some eggplant thing there. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try it out. And guess what?
I'll tell you, the onboarding to people into the eggplant universe happens through only one way. You turn those things into little fries.
Yes.
And you put like Canadian maple syrup all over that shit. Mwah.
No, don't do
Yes.
that.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yes.
I've never tried that version.
It's fucking
Oh,
delicious.
but-
I've had it,
I
and
don't
that's
know.
like the best way I've ever had eggplant in my entire life.
Really?
Okay, ready for this?
Yeah.
Ready for this? You take the eggplant, you put it over an open flame on the stove or on the grill. You whip the skin on, you barbecue it till the insides are soft.
Yeah.
And then you blend it together with tahini and lemon. Oh, Artemis. And then you add pomegranate molasses and fresh pomegranates and dill, and you have an amazing dish with salt and pepper, of course, to taste. And if I may recommend, has anyone here heard of aromat?
No.
No?
Adrian, you should get some and put on your steak. You're gonna thank me for it.
What is that shit?
What's a nor, right?
It's based-
Nor aromat.
It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
basically salt derived from onions.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, sell it here.
Mhm.
I could probably make that shit.
Anyway,
I should try
The
doing
point
that,
is-
actually.
the point is, we need several bombs just fucking blowing up every single eggplant on Earth. That's the key. No more eggplants. Done.
Show us
Hey,
on
Ian,
where the eggplant
my friend
is.
Michaela's gonna come. Yeah, Ian, my friend Michaela's gonna come up. Just when you see her, bring her up.
Which Michaela? Peterson Michaela or? Which Michaela? Who?
No, the American flag in the background.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, moussaka is good. Yeah, I know that shit's great. I had it a lot. I've eaten a lot of Greek food. Moussaka is actually one of the best ways to eat it as well. Eggplants, everything else kind of tastes ass with them. Eggplant parmigiano, I don't get that shit. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Listen,
What about
we need,
veal parmesan?
we need a complete and total shutdown of eggplants. No more eggplants.
Outa, if one of these eggplant farms gets like attacked, we're coming for you first.
Nah, I was joking. I was joking.
Anti-eggplant terrorists. We're putting you on a list, okay? You're putting you on a list.
It's just like the list that goes by just one thing. It's the eggplant emoji, just like one.
Oh my god. Fuck off. You guys remember the South Park episode where like KFC gets banned, right? And instead they put like a weed door.
Yeah.
I missed that episode.
How did you miss that episode?
Don't worry about it.
Have you been a casual?
Okay, how about this? You can judge us on the you can judge us on eggplants, but we get to judge you on the Okay, how about this? Okay, you can judge us on the eggplants, but we get to judge you on South Park. If you have the eggplants, then we're on level.
Wait, what do you mean? South Park is awesome.
No, as in we don't have to watch it all the way.
Yeah, we have to watch it all the way.
No, we don't. Good that you have to eat
Yeah,
eggplant.
I'm a South Park casual. Okay?
Listen,
I don't
You
want
are so casual.
If you
do not
eat
respect
an
casual.
eggplant, I will watch the entirety of fucking South Park.
I will never eat an eggplant.
Then I will never watch the entirety of South Park.
Yeah, fuck you.
Hey, you want to know something funny? And it's just random because it showed up in my timeline. But you remember when Ted Cruz went to, was it Acapulco or something? Well, there was a storm in Texas, and everybody shit on him for it.
Yeah.
Well, Karen Bass, who is the mayor of Los Angeles, shit on him for that. She tweeted at him. She said, "Ted Cruz fleeing Texas in the middle of a deadly crisis is part of a larger pattern of the GOP abandoning folks in crisis. We need to build a movement to kick them all out." She wrote that, right, in 2021. And here she is today, you know, in where was she? Fucking Ghana, of all places?
Yes.
Yeah, she was like having a vacation in Ghana. I mean, who goes there? Jesus. He goes to Ghana while her fucking city's burning down. It's like, all right. So you're the mayor, and by the way, he's a senator, so he's got nothing to do with, you know, local Texas policies. Yeah. The absolute height of hypocrisy.
Rick Caruso should be the mayor of LA. He should have
Yep.
been our mayor.
Yeah, but
I can't
fucking
stand it.
all these people, you know, counter-signaled against him, so that's why he didn't win.
Did you see the interview with Karen Bass in the jetway as she got off the plane? Yeah, some journalist.
On her.
Yeah, well, some journalist is like, so your city's on fire. What do you think? And she just doesn't say anything for like 6 minutes while she's waiting to get cleared to enter the airport.
Yep.
It's just like you'd think, like Ghana to LA, that's what, like a 12-hour flight. You think you'd have some time to like prepare some remarks, like when you landed, in anticipation that maybe a journalist would have a question for you. But you would think that would be something that someone would have advised her to do. But yeah, I guess that wasn't part of her advisor portfolio.
Some of the questions that were asked her were do you owe your citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire budget by millions of dollars?
Millions.
Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. What are your comments? Brilliant. Just an absolutely brutal interview. And yeah, she's like a deer in the headlights, no comments, just literally quiet, staring at the journalists, and they're all asking her these nasty questions. It's great. Wonderful. She should be removed from office. She's clearly inept. In fact, a news story just came out, it just broke now, that the LA fire chief, the one everybody's dunking on because she's pretty DEI, right? She's a DEI hire. But even she warned Karen Bass that the removal of $17 million from the federal, from the fire department's budget, quote, severely limited the department's capacity to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies, including wildfires. So literally, her own DEI hire, right, who by the way is like hired because of her like gender and like sexuality and stuff, is warning her that cutting the budget is fucking stupid. So even that person who, is debatable when it comes to like whether they're good at their job or not, right, tells you that you are fucking up, then you should probably listen to them,
Imagine running a city and being like, hey, we need to cut the budget. It's a good idea. We live in a fire zone, and oh, by the way, insurance companies, it's so risky that insurance companies won't even insure houses here after we turned around and set a premium cap, which is another policy failure. What we should do in this place, which is on several major fault lines, when one of those fault lines ruptures, everything's going to burst into flames? I have a brilliant idea. We should cut the fire department's budget. I think that, like, who thinks that? Like, that's like the kind of thing where you're like, hey, I really need to be warm tonight. It's awfully chilly out, so I'm going to start ripping wood off of the side of my house and burning it.
Yep. That is exactly what happened.
I mean, never mind the gaping hole in the side of the house, which is letting in 18-degree air. No, that's not a problem because I've got this fire right here, and that's keeping me warm and addressing my immediate needs. Never mind that the rest of the house is free. It's just like, it's so short-sighted. Like, you wonder, it must be malice, right? It's so incompetent. Like, who would actually do that? Who thinks this basic function, like you think about, oh, gee, we really need to make cuts. The firefighters, that's where we're going to go get that extra bit of budget so we can go spend it on, that, $10 billion worth of whatever we spend on homeless NGOs where the CEOs get paid $500,000 a year to make the problem worse. Because that's where the money goes, right? In these places in California. They go and they hire a bunch of NGOs to perpetuate problems instead of fix them. And all of the people who run them get paid, half a bar a year in base pay because I don't know, because they're too flush with funding from, Ford and Annenberg and Soros and various others.
Correct. That's exactly what happened. It's insanity, really. And it makes you wonder, what the fuck are the people living there doing? Why are they voting these people in, Are the elections just
they're leaving. I mean, I think California, your U-Haul rates, if you're going from Texas to California, it's a lot easier to get a U-Haul than the other way around.
That's true, and they're running out of U-Hauls because there's just so much, demand to leave. Also, all the houses that burned down yesterday, that was, Pacific Palisades. That's a wealthy neighborhood. That's where, a lot of their high-end houses are, $5 million houses, and they're all burnt to a crisp. Those people are not coming back to California. They're gone. They're going to Texas.
Well, the houses aren't insured, a lot of them, because of the premium.
They're not, yeah.
So
they can't even insure them.
You can't even insure them.
Yeah. So they're leaving.
They're insured through a program which had, I think, as of April of last year, 24, had a $200 million surplus. But like the $200 million, okay, great. That's what, 100 homes? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, well, what happens when 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 burn down? Programs installed.
Yeah. And,
I think we need to call this Pallygate and do an investigation. I don't know if this is real, but apparently Alex Jones is saying that James Woods confirmed that homeowner insurance policies were canceled en masse months before the massive Palisades.
Yeah,
they were.
But the reason they were canceled, so that the insurers wanted to jack up the premiums because the actuaries did their or whatever it is they have to do the risk assessment, and they said, listen, we're not charging enough money to actually bear this risk because the risk is so much higher because of all these other factors. And California went, well, tough, because we're not going to let you increase premiums beyond a certain level. So the insurers went, fine, then we're just going to cancel the policies and nobody's going to be insured because we literally, it doesn't make economic sense for us to do it because the risk is so high. So they canceled the policies because, again, California wouldn't let them charge what they needed to charge in order to make it worth their while to bear the risk. And so it was a state policy failure. So they pulled out, and now all the houses are burned down.
You can't even blame the insurance companies for not wanting to do that, because it's like, why would they want to insure a house that is almost guaranteed to burn down because of the policies that suck that enable this to happen, right? So, yeah, it's not some not really conspiracy. It's more like it's just economic sense.
So get this, my business partner and I work on. We have a proprietary water tech, right? And we're able to identify bodies of water all over the world under the ground. And apparently, a few years back, we had, provided the intelligence of where water is located, the business partner's company, in California, literally around the areas that were burning. And where was that information? It was sitting in someone's desk. And it never was used. Imagine if they had actually taken the information we gave them, that they bought, by the way, and implemented it. They would have been able to save so many homes and businesses. This is California for you.
Mm-hmm.
As you were explaining that offering, you were like, we have this technology and this method for identifying bodies of water. And just before you said, and bodies of water which are underground, I was thinking, where is this going? Like, we have technology to identify bodies of water. It's like, yes, they're blue, but then you mentioned it was underground, and then
and thank God I did it.
It was a really strategic pause, and I was like, where is she going with that? What is it? Is it kind of is it like a radar or something that you use? How does it work?
It is actually. It's a combination of tech and also scientists that are able to geolocate with use of certain satellites, but also their own special mathematical kind of equations and different sounds of identifying these things. And it goes beyond water, honestly, but we're the only ones that have this specific technology. So it's pretty cool.
That's super cool.
It really has helped a lot of people in Africa, in parts of South America, parts of the Middle East, in South Asia. So, it's just, thank you. Proud to be part of it.
That's cool. One thing that I see a lot of people posting online, and this is coming from both the left and the right, so it's not really a political thing. This is more of a character thing that speaks to people's lack of character, rather, is people cheering on the fires, saying, oh, they voted for this, fuck them, and they can just rebuild a house, or, it's not that much money, or, it's just a house, who cares, just dismissing the fact that people just lost their homes, okay? And it's not just the fact that some of these houses are really expensive, for like $5 million, right? It's not just that, right? It's the fact that they've lived in these houses for like 20 plus years. They've created memories in these houses. These are homes where their kids grew up in, okay? Like, imagine losing all of that. Imagine losing all of your memories. Imagine losing all of your stuff that you worked hard for your whole life, right? Your whole fucking life. You know, you struggle to, you lived in maybe shitty apartments for a while, and then eventually you hit it big, you buy a nice house, right? And you build it, you make it your own, you decorate it. It's just beautiful, right? It's something you take pride in. And then, fucking fire comes along, burns all of it down because the city fucking sucks, and you lose everything. And then you have idiots online who probably don't understand the value of memory or the value of, like, having things, right? Having nice things. They're cheering it on. It's like, it's disgusting. It's like, fuck you, Like,
it's not their, this is the thing, like, it's not their fault, right?
No, it's
not your fault. It's not your fault if you live in California and the government sucks. Yes, because there are a lot of people who tend to think a certain way. What happens is there are certain outcomes and the government sucks. But, like, there's no direct line of causation to be like, yes, I vote blue and I live in LA. And, oh, by the way, my government also stinks. Like, there have been Democrats who have been decent in government at different points in history, right? But it's just that there's a particularly unique disease that happens to be currently infecting that party, which means that every urban area we have in the United States is run like shit. And it's going to take a lot of institutional effort to break it. What we should be doing is saying to these people, this sucks. We are so sorry that this happened. But a basic function, right, of civilized society is that cities don't get burned down by natural disasters that are eminently preventable, right? We could be living, if you put Palmer Luckey in charge of this problem, if you put Elon in charge of this problem, they would turn around and go, cool, we're going to do is we're going to have a fleet of drones that patrol the city with infrared cameras. And the second there's a fire, we will dispatch them with fire retardant and they'll be on it and the fire will be out before it even starts. And we can do it for $100 million, right? That is the kind of stuff.
That's amazing.
Well, that's like, but like, that's the kind of thinking that you need in order to solve a problem like this. Right. And the thinking is in abundance, but just the government doesn't want it. They're just because ideologically they would rather be decelerationist. They would rather draw their paychecks. They'd rather take the tax money and redirect it to their clients of the institution, the institutions that they run. They're not there to actually administer a government. They're there to extract as much value as they possibly can. And like all of these people who've had their homes destroyed, like, if you're going after them being like, you're a Democrat, guess what? They're a potential Republican, right? These people are potential, and
you're right.
Republican, like they're a potential citizen who we can turn around and say, listen, we agree, this never should have happened. It's not your fault, but if you want to fix it, we've got some solutions for you. And this is a solvable problem that just like, it isn't being solved because LA was spending, what was it? They spent like $600,000 on a single bus shade that was this little strip of metal, like about a foot wide and like 4 feet long, sticking off the side of a lamppost at a bus stop. And they spent $600,000 in 2 years because they had to do feasibility studies and all this other stuff. It's like, really, these people are sick.
Yeah, yeah.
But Preston, the Democrats are creating jobs with this fire now. Because people have to go and rebuild. That's a literal mentality.
Broken jobs. Yeah, that's so
it's
fucked.
Sick.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, I know. It's time for California to break off the rest of the U.S. That's not going to happen, obviously. Although Gary, numbers guy, does think that Northern California by 2036 will apparently be flooded out. Pretty crazy.
Ideally, the inland of California would split off and become its own state.
Yeah, the rest of California would never allow it.
No, the Bay Area is just too much power. Bay Area and Los Angeles, and San Diego, obviously. They wouldn't allow it, no. It's kind of like Oregon, where you have Portland, which has way too many people in it, and a lot of them are not even born in Oregon, who don't have the culture of people living in Oregon, who dictate what happens in the rest of the state. It's ridiculous.
I think what you need to do in California is you need to have like a concerted movement, because like no one's ever going to vote Republican there. So what you need to just do is just take over the Democratic Party. So you run people who are really sensible as Democrats, as a very organized thing, right? And you take people who've been kind of not very out with their political opinions and haven't been openly associated with MAGA or anything like that. And you just kind of like, it's very sotto voce. You just kind of go, listen, here's what we're doing. We're going to just take over the Democratic Party, and we're going to take a couple people, and we're just going to try to kind of work this stuff from within. And then once we have power, we'll purge the party and get rid of the crazies from it, and we'll just run it nice and moderate. But like, it's a big conspiracy. You got to find a group of really capable, able people, and then just kind of target it and say, listen, we're just going to take this over. It's going to take 10 years to do it, and eventually, when we're done, right, we'll be done.
100%. So I just got into stock trading, and I bought a bunch of NVIDIA stocks. I know that's like a random thing, but I think it's worth it because I'm looking at the technology that they're making, and it's something I want to invest in. I feel like a lot of the time that people, when they talk about stocks or Bitcoin or some bullshit, they do it because they want to get rich, right? They're like, I want to get 50% returns on my my investment in a year, right? That seems to be like their only goal, but they're not investing it in the technology for like the right reason. I see the only people who stand away from this sort of mentality are people who invest in Tesla, because they truly believe in what Elon Musk is doing, and so they invest in this stuff, right? And that's great. I mean, that's what investment should be, because when you're a stockholder of a certain company, you kind of have a say in what they're doing, and it means that you trust in the product. And if you don't trust it, like let's say NVIDIA were to start making some stupid bullshit, like what Intel is doing, I'd just pull my money out,
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, Bitcoin wasn't supposed to end up the way it hasn't ended up.
Yeah.
It really had the potential to, it's revolutionized a lot of things, but it was supposed to be next level, and it just didn't, unfortunately. It was taken over, hijacked by greed.
Yeah,
Human
big
nature.
companies. Yeah, I remember when Bitcoin maxis, right, were investing in it, like just putting all of their money in it, not taking anything out because they believed in the technology. But now, if you look at the Bitcoin community, there's like a whole bunch of memes about this, right, where they're literally crying when Goldman Sachs doesn't want to buy Bitcoin. It's like, what the fuck? And you don't want Goldman Sachs to buy into it, It's terrible. But instead, that's what it's become.
I'm not so sure. I think at this point, I remember back in the day when like one bank would be like, hey, we're working on like a Bitcoin pilot. Everyone would be like, this is it. Mass adoption's right around the corner. Like, we're all going to the moon, guys. Get aboard the rocket. I think what's happened, so the big turnaround in crypto was when the SEC was forced to admit a bunch of ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, that they'd been holding up and blocking. They actually lost a lawsuit which said that the exercise of their discretion to block these ETFs was arbitrary and capricious, which is like basically that's about as hard as a court can smack an executive agency. And after that, crypto just started ripping, right? And you've had these inflows into Bitcoin particularly, but we're also seeing other ETFs, other assets. I think they've got an Ethereum ETF. That I think they're about to deploy a Ripple ETF. So
everybody just has to understand that like crypto is inevitable, and just deal with it. Crypto will always be inevitable. It just is what it is. Digital money is here to stay. It's too easy, too fast, too fluid. Ian, can you bring Michaela up by chance?
I did. I tried. She's already a speaker on my screen.
I think it's
she's already up. Yeah, she's already up. So
yeah,
she can speak. Yeah.
So here's actually, she's a listener on my screen. Maybe she is. So listen. Also, another thing I wanted to add to this conversation is, first of all, notice how the SEC refuses to define what Bitcoin or crypto actually is. And just FYI, I am working with a brilliant programmer, white hat hacker, who has created a technology to be able to detect crypto scams. So it's really, really cool. If he's able to launch it, which I'm trying to work on with him to get the correct people on board, it could really save a lot of people's lives.
Well, we'd have to ban Pump Fund. This whole thing is a goddamn scam.
Huge scam.
is weird, man. Like it's like a what? It looks
Speaking
like
of
a
which,
gambling
I
website,
have
right?
some Solana. Let's see what happens. Don't mention
Yeah.
it.
It's a goddamn gambling site, and people go in there knowing that they're gonna get rugged because that's what all it's about, and yet they spend a lot of money in it on this stupid shit, right? And yeah, that's not great.
The pump fund is they're actually they're incorporated in England, which is slightly problematic because England doesn't allow you to act as a virtual asset service provider and sell virtual assets unless you are registered with the FCA. So you've got to have a full financial services license, and they don't. And one of the other problems is that if you do that without the license, like in the US, you'll have the SEC like sending you a subpoena and they'll like mess up your life for a couple of years and you'll pay a fine. In England, you go to prison. So like it's really not. So they wound up closing the site in England. The FCA put out a notice. It's the UK financial regulator put out a notice warning everyone about them. Like a while ago, I looked at their site. Like they didn't have a privacy policy posted. They didn't have a DMCA policy. Like really basic, like corporate website blocking and tackling that you'd expect to see is total clown show. But like they were making $100 million a month. It's just totally like
That's
wild money printer, and they never did anything properly. They were just like kind of sat back and we're just sitting there just being flooded in shitcoin money. It's the most amazing scam I've ever seen. I've not a scam, but like I use that term as a term of endearment rather than actually asserting that it's a scam.
Mm-hmm. It's absurd. And the people who get into it, who like spend money on that website, they know they're going to get rugged. So the idea is that they pump as much money into it as possible, and then they pull out before other people do. Right? It's like that's the whole game.
Whatever happened to Hawk Tula girl and her scam? She wasn't even aware of being complicit in.
Well, we don't know if she was complicit. I mean, we don't know if she knew. Right?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Like
Apparently, she
immediately
immediately surrendered and went and started working with the law firm. I'll be a witness and help you, help you find where all the bodies are buried before you actually file the lawsuit.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Hey, she doesn't have a choice. She listened to a bunch of people from crypto, got a shitcoin, rugged not only her fans, but her entire fucking online reputation. That shit's never going away.
She destroyed her reputation.
I mean, I'm sorry, but her reputation, yeah.
Like, I mean, you had something. You had something. You know, you had something. Now you have a massive stake in it.
Yeah. She had a top 10 podcast. It was making money. It was pretty decent. I mean, I'm not saying the podcast is decent. I never actually listened to a show. I just knew that she. But that's long lasting. Now, she burned out really fucking fast, man. Like, she flew too close to the sun.
It's the Icarus, man.
Maybe she should have talked to a lawyer.
Yes. When you're about to engage with a massive financial decision that encompasses multi-million dollars of gravitas, that you may want to get yourself the best lawyer, because if you don't, you will need one anyways, because you will get fucked.
Yep, actually got fucked. It's very sad. It's very sad. She was like, giving donations to like animal shelters. Yeah, just doing really nice things with her money, right? She didn't just like hoard it or anything.
I think it was more so marketing stuff than anything, because charity is like, you're better off reinvesting it into a place where
set up a base camp or something.
Mhm.
I mean, assuming they're like far long enough that they can do that, right? At the very minimum, just plant a flag.
Yeah.
How interesting would that be?
For a second, I thought you guys were saying optimist robots.
Optimus. These are Optimus robots, yes. My name is Optimus Prime.
SpaceX logo.
Exactly. Imagine if your Optimus robot just walks up to you and says, "My name is Optimus Prime. We are cybernetic organisms from the planet Cybertron." The fact that I could do that is incredible.
Yep.
Looks like you're watching.
Sam, where's the cube, Sam?
What's the cube, Sam?
We're gonna go to Bendigo, Morty. We're gonna get me fucking cube.
You know that one? No? Okay, never mind. Don't know about it.
What's that from?
It's Rick and Morty.
Oh.
I'm getting
Have you
cube.
seen the weird Rick and Morty shorts that they've done without the proper art, and it's all like really, really fucked up stuff. Like Rick and Morty go out into the woods and they go hunting, and like he actually wants to fuck Rick.
No, but goddamn, actually.
Yeah, it's like
Like, no, but goddamn, actually, I'm not into that myself, but I mean, hey, what's
it's screwed up.
It is a great show, though. It's a very twisted show, but it's a fantastic show.
Yeah, it's funny.
But you haven't watched Bush and Adventures of the...
No.
No?
No, I've never seen it.
Nah, not seen it. Grok, you can, if you ask it stupid questions, it gives you like really dumb answers, you know? Like if you ask what a person's real name is, it will say that someone's real name is Ashley Sinclair. What the fuck?
Lol.
Like, why does it do that? Why does it do that? Why is it giving that answer of all things? I don't get it.
Can't trust Grok.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
something
what
about
is
Grok
Adrian
has to do
Dittman's
with
real
stupid
name?
questions. Yeah. Ask it that, yeah.
Oh my god, Adrian Dittman is Adrian... Like, yeah, it says, I mean, it counts as Adrian Dittman, so yeah.
Yeah, well, depending on who you ask the question about, it'll spit out some hallucinatory answer. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like, I think it pulls it from, people's tweets, right? Like, people making
100%. Sorry.
Like
Every single post determines...
One is you.
Like, every single post determines what will be seen next.
Yep. And so the truth is basically crowdsourced. It's not reality. It's like everyone agreeing that the Earth is in fact flat. And that is, what Grok will answer, assuming you were to ask a 12th century audience. There's the limits of AI, at least with Grok 2. With Grok 3, I think it should be a lot smarter than that. It won't jump to such conclusions. Because I don't think Grok 2 has the proper ability to reason, right? And that is what separates AI from AGI. The better an AI is, the better its reasoning capability. But AGI can actually reason. It can deduce things in a way that a human can. Okay, going back to the interview that Elon just did. I like what he said about how the human mind, transmits 1 bit per hour or something. So it's very few, right? Or 1 bit per second. Yeah, or less than that actually, a lot less. And imagine, being able to output 1,000 times that. That is crazy. We'll be able to think 1,000 times faster, effectively. We'll be
I
able
wonder
to.
that will do in a lifespan.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, our brain is just not being used to capacity to begin with. You add a computer chip onto it to help it do your calculations, and suddenly you're doing advanced math in your head in a split second. So if someone were to ask you what is 59 times 2055, you'd be able to spit out the answer immediately. Wow. So combine that with reasoning skills, don't just apply it to math, but actually apply it to real world reasoning of things, and you have a superhuman. Someone who can effectively, has his survival skills all maxed out. And not even maxed out at that, because cats, for example, are pretty fast reflexes and stuff.
various animals know how to survive in certain ways that humans just don't know how to because we never learned how to. But that would be something that would be innate to us because we'd be so fucking smart.
Mm-hmm.
And that annoys me about TV shows or movies where, you know, you have a group of humans and they're going up against a superhuman and they somehow manage to outsmart it. It's like, excuse me, the superhuman is 1,000 times smarter than you. How are you outsmarting it? That's silly. That is not possible. It'd be like if a dog outsmarted a man. That is just not going to happen. Dogs cannot outsmart people.
Some people.
There's some very intelligent.
Some people. Okay, yeah, maybe the person's really, really dumb. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, it's not happening, right? Now imagine if a human is 1,000 times smarter than the smartest person on Earth right now. They would effectively know how to do everything and anything, and they would survive really, really well, and they would excel at everything. There'd be no way to outsmart them, not even with a combined effort. And they'd be smart enough not to let you know that they know. You know, like they wouldn't tell you that they're smart because they wouldn't want to put themselves at a disadvantage. Because they would deduce all possible calculations, all possibilities, that game theory everything out in their head. Because, you know, you're constantly playing game theory, just constantly on everything, on what you say, what you do, who you interact with, how you interact with them, what you say to them, etc. Person with 1,000 IQ, if you want to call it that, which is more like 10,000 IQ, would be able to instantly figure out, oh, this is the best game plan. If I want a certain thing, here's what I'm going to do to get it done. Kind of cool, but also kind of scary, if it gets into the wrong hands. But that's the beauty of it. Everyone will be on an even playing field. Well, the people who have it, anyway.
Yeah.
I want it installed in my head. Hell yeah. Let's fucking go. I'd be on a space talking about advanced astrophysics. And I think I'd get bored too, because the thing about being that smart is that everything is going to seem really, really stupid and simple and slow. Speaking would be inefficient because you can only speak so fast. So that needs to be worked on.
I would say it's not so much of a problem. I think people overrate it as an issue. Even if you're very smart and you see most of everything coming, which that is how I feel like mostly in life, you end up appreciating the complexity of the universe a lot more because you actually get it. You can actually see it. The only thing that will frustrate you is that nobody else will really get it in the same way that you could. But maybe they could, and they're fascinated enough to try and understand it. Like the average person looks at the stars and doesn't consider what's behind all of that, why they are the way they are. They probably don't understand how the sun works itself, not even in the slightest, or how it is possible that all that light comes to us, and why technically quantum tunneling has something to do with it. So it's like, there's so much cool shit that you can recognize and talk about. It's a great thing. Enhancing your intelligence is not a curse. I mean, you'll bear burdens that are greater than what many others could bear and would have to bear, because that's just like your level of awareness increasing. You start to realize things that otherwise people would have ignored, and then you have to make a conscious choice whether or not you can talk about these things. And it's like, this is the moment where you start to understand the real meaning of power and the responsibility that comes with it.
It's frustrating, you know?
I don't see it as frustrating. I see it as incredibly fascinating, in my opinion.
I mean, I see it as frustrating in that I can't communicate efficiently enough to convince people of what is true. And I see them making the same mistakes over and over again. I know the solution to it. I know how they can stop this. I know how they can effectively fix what problems that ail them. And yet somehow they refuse to listen. That is the part that frustrates me.
It's especially bad when you're like kind of on your own. You're the only one who says it. And it's like, hey, by the way, you're going to go down this path. This mistake is going to happen. That mistake is going to happen. And that mistake is going to happen. Instead, do it like this and you'll avoid all that other shit over there. They don't listen to you. And then afterwards, it's like, told you so. And then they get angry at you for saying I told you so. I'm like, I'm going to keep doing it, and I don't care what you think of me, because maybe if you had listened, you wouldn't have these problems, and you wouldn't be angry about the fact that you were wrong now. Save your own ego. You know? Yeah, I don't have to do it for you. It's clearly damaged now, because you know you're wrong, even though you deny it, but that's how it works.
People are stubborn. They refuse to learn. Stubbornness is the refusal to learn.
Be stubborn with principles, but not stubborn with knowledge.
Correct. There's a difference.
And calcify in strange ways.
Yeah. I am always going to do this thing that makes no sense, even though it hurts me. Because I've always done it this way.
Yeah. Just like with a company, you go to a specific company, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, why are we actually doing this specific thing that's extremely inefficient? Well, because we've always done it this way. Like, that's not an answer, though.
Yeah. No, it's not. Imagine playing Dark Souls or Elden Ring, and you're trying to beat a boss, and you know exactly how to beat it. You know the strategy, you've gamed it out in your head, but instead you're doing the same stupid shit over and over again because you're stubborn. You want to think, oh, I'm going to button mash. Every single time you button mash the exact same buttons, and you don't win. And this is what people are doing. They're not learning from their mistakes. You're supposed to learn. You're supposed to say, oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Oh, this thing works. I'll try this instead. That's how you beat things. That's how you overcome challenges. That's how you overcome any challenge in real life or video games. It doesn't matter, right? That's how you overcome challenges, by learning from your mistakes and for gaming things out, simulating it in your head, figuring out the best course of action, going through with it, executing, get things done.
Yeah.
But because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And many people are, in fact, insane because this is how they choose to live their lives. And they complain a lot. They'll complain about not having enough, about how they don't have the job that they want, about how their place in life is not where it should be or where they think it should be. And yet, the reality is that their place in life is exactly where it should be. It's because everything they've done up until that moment has led them to that exact spot. Therefore, everything is as it should be. If you don't like it, change it. Change something.
Yeah.
They will harp on past glories. Oh, I used to do this thing. I was actually really successful in this thing. Well, has it helped you in where you are right now? That is an important question. And if the answer is no, then it is irrelevant.
I used to rule the world. That song it reminds me of.
Yeah.
God. Well, like my personal favorite was I once did some graphic designing, and I do this sometimes because I just can. I could just figure shit out and make it work somehow, which isn't like I usually get annoyed at problems and then I solve them somehow. So that's how I started getting into like graphic related things, because I realized that what I was looking for either did not exist or was something that people didn't understand how to make. It's like, what do you mean with this? And they over stylize it. And I'm like, no. Okay, fuck it. I'll just do it myself. So I designed something very good, actually. Like it was an impressive piece of work, as a matter of fact, which was used somewhere and actually has gained a lot of eyes since. I can't tell you what it is, but it's pretty damn good, actually. And the person is like an older dude, older German expatriates. Holy shit, man! Do not get in with them on anything. It's like, Anyways, This guy tries to pull like the superiority complex on my ass, and I really don't give a shit. It's like very transparent about that. And it's like I'm sitting there doing my thing, and then guy's like, oh, you should do like this, you should do like this, you should do like. I'm like, why? He says, oh well, I used to own a media company, and in my head, I really wanted to say this to his face, but I just decided to hold back because I didn't want to set off a nuke on that day because I had other stuff to do. I didn't feel like drama on that day, but I really wanted to clap back and say, oh yeah, good, cool, how well has that worked out for you? Because it's gone. It's fucking shut down. I'm like, okay, cool, you want to tell me about something that you've done? Sure, okay, cool. Has it lasted though? There you go.
Lasted, and if you sold it for $1 billion, then yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. If you sold it and you made like a massive upside, it's like incredible, and it's like, yeah, sure, now you're a billionaire and you didn't even need to talk to me the whole time. Then okay, cool. Maybe there's an exception here. But yeah. Still insane though.
Only take advice from people who are successful.
Actually, don't take advice.
From all the failures.
Yeah, don't take advice from anyone who you wouldn't want to be.
Exactly. If they're not where in life where you see yourself being, then don't take advice from them because their advice is probably shit.
Exactly. It's not what you want for yourself.
No. It's like taking sex advice from a virgin. Why would you do that? You know?
Like, oh no, but I jacked off a lot. It's observational sex.
But you know what, you guys? I have to say, there is the advantage of hindsight. And some people, unfortunately, don't realize, most people, I'd say, what they should have done. And then with that wisdom of what they should have done, can actually, depending on their age, of course, and their experiences, can actually give good advice. Including the people who are where you want to be. But that's a matter of perspective, I guess.
I think it really
You guys are like, no, we're just going to talk to the people we want to.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it apart too much. I look at where they are, and I look at their consistent life story, and I'm like, is this something I want for myself? You know?
If they applied this advice to their own lives, if they're capable of applying it, why is that, right? Is it because they're simply too lazy, or is it because their advice is simply untenable, right? That's a question. If their advice is so good, why isn't it working out for them?
Exactly.
Coaches don't play, and
it's like therapists. You know, they're super fucked up most of the time. And I give you advice because let me tell you what it is. It's their cope that's supposed to act as your guidance. That's therapy in a nutshell. Therapists are an interrogator with a shit ton of issues. You see, they use their understanding of their own issues in order to get stuff out of your brain so that your brain becomes aware of itself in this way. That's what a therapist is for. And I don't know anyone who has ever been quote-unquote cured of their mental situation after they'd been to a therapist. As a matter of fact, I've often found it was actually worse.
Never been to one, so I can't comment.
Yeah, I'm also never going to go to one. Fuck that shit.
It seems like a waste of time.
I think I need therapy. Oh, because I can't live inside of my own brain because, oh my god, I feel so triggered.
Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what do you mean? I got autism. The entire world feels like it's on fire 24/7 for me, and you want to tell me that you're triggered? Get the fuck out of here.